If you've got a pension and 1 million or more saved, you'd think you'd already won. And in a lot of ways, you have. But there's a pattern I keep running into with people in this exact same spot. People who did everything the textbook says you're supposed to do. Their biggest regret isn't running out of money. It's not fully enjoying what they spent decades building. Hi, I'm Stefano Francesca, certified financial planner professional and senior wealth advisor at Next Step Wealth Management with IPC Securities Corporation. And I want to walk you through the 7 mistakes I see over and over again with exactly the same group. Maybe a pension, paid off house, 7 figures saved. It's a mix of money mistakes as well as habits that quietly stop working the moment you retire. The same habits that got you here in the first place. If you're looking to avoid these mistakes and want even more information, stick around as I have a special book offer for our YouTube subscribers. Number 1, let's start with staying too frugal. Whatever made you disciplined enough to build this kind of wealth doesn't just switch off in your retirement. I've sat with people whose pension covers every bill, who have more than $1 million saved, and who still won't book the trip or fix up the kitchen. I've had clients with more than enough money hesitate over a $200 dinner out or put off a trip they've talked about for years because it just feels like it's too much. Meanwhile, the years you actually have the health and the energy to enjoy that moment, they're not unlimited. Your 60s and early 70s tend to be when you can travel, chase hobbies, keep up with the grandkids, and that window closes whether you use it or not. No amount of saving buys that back. A real spending plan shouldn't only give you permission to save. It should give you permission to spend, and honestly, that's some of the most meaningful work I get to do with my clients. Watching someone finally say yes to the trip that they've been putting off for a decade. Number 2, working longer than necessary is another one we're flagging. 65 feels like the default, but if you've got a pension and real savings, that number tends to be more flexible than people assume. Sometimes it's fear of the unknown. Sometimes it's just not knowing if the number is big enough yet. So staying at the desk feels safer than stepping away, even when the math already says you're covered. Run your actual numbers and you might find you had more room than you thought, sometimes a lot more. Just one caution though, the flip side is real too. I've met retirees 6 months in who are financially fine and still restless, because leaving the structure of work without a plan for what replaces it can be just its own kind of hard. Either way, the real question isn't just when you retire, it's what you're retiring into. That deserves just as much planning as the money itself. Now here's a bigger one, and it's one I see most often with this exact same group. Number 3, keeping almost everything in tax-deferred accounts. A heavy RRSP is completely normal when you're working. That's exactly what it's designed for. Tax deductions and deferring tax while your income is high. But here's what catches most people off guard. In retirement, that same balance can turn into a tax trap, but not always. It's important to figure that out. RRIF minimums stack on top of CPP and OAS and pension income, and the total can push you into a bracket higher than anything you paid while you were still working. That's the opposite effect of what we want from an RRSP. Every dollar coming out is taxable, whether you need it in that year or not. And there's no getting around it once the government forces the minimum withdrawal. A mix of registered, non-registered, and TFSA assets gives you far more flexibility over when and how your retirement income is taxed. Number 4, there's also a tendency to assume the pension solves everything. A pension feels like the finish line. Once it's in place, you're covered and done thinking about it. But a pension replaces a paycheck. It doesn't replace retirement planning. It doesn't solve your tax strategy, your withdrawal strategy, or how long the rest of your money actually lasts. I've watched people stop planning the moment the pension kicked in, right when the planning should get more detailed, not less, because now there's real money in motion, not just a savings target. Number 5, taking withdrawals without a real plan trips up more people than you'd expect. Pulling from whatever account feels easiest isn't a strategy, and it can mean paying tax you don't actually need to, or putting your own longevity at risk by selling the wrong assets during a downturn just because that's the account that you happen to draw from. Knowing which account to draw from first and how to sequence RSP, TFSA, non-registered, or even corporate withdrawals over decades is coordination, not guesswork, and it can help your portfolio last years longer just by changing the order that the money comes out. Number 6, skipping the actual analysis is a mistake I see all the time. Can I safely spend $80,000 a year? Should I be moving RRSP money into my TFSA now before RRIF withdrawals push me into a higher bracket? How much can I gift my kids now while I'm still around to watch them use it? Does a strategy make sense for me or not? Have I been using rules of thumb that don't actually apply to me? Nobody should have to guess at these answers. And yet most people do, simply because no one's ever sat down and run the actual projection for them. Most of my clients in this position have already won the financial game. So once we run the numbers, the conversation usually shifts towards spending more, gifting more, giving more, not less. It's a good problem to have, but it's only a good problem if you actually know you've already solved all the other issues. Number 7, last one, failing to prepare for the transfer of wealth. Even people who never set out to leave a legacy usually end up leaving one, especially with a pension and 7 figures saved. An outdated will, no plan for the widow's tax trap when a spouse passes and income splitting disappears overnight, no real conversation with your kids about any of it. I see these gaps constantly, and almost all of them are fixable if you catch them in time. The strongest plans don't just move money to the next generation. They prepare that generation to actually handle it. So the wealth doesn't get just transferred, it lasts instead of getting spent, taxed, or fought over within a few years. Avoiding this mistake is one of the reasons for my contribution to our co-authored book, Financial Success for Retirees. If you've built a retirement with a pension and real savings behind it, you've already done that hard part. What's left isn't about piling up more. It's about being intentional with your taxes, your timing, your income, your giving, so the money you spent decades building actually matches the life you want to live now, not the version of retirement you were picturing 20 years ago. Because the regret I hear about most isn't running out of money. It's running out of capacity before you've used what you've worked so hard to build. If you're wondering whether any of these 7 apply to you, book a time with me. The link is in the description below. Before you go, as a thank you for being part of this community, I'd like to offer an exclusive book bundle to my YouTube subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. I'm proud to have authored 2 books, Financial Success for Retirees and Financial Success for Pre-Retirees. Both books feature insights and expertise from leading financial advisors across Canada, and I was honored to contribute as one of the authors. Each book normally retails for $27.95. But as a subscriber, you can purchase both books for just $19.99. That's more than a 60% discount off the regular price. Even better, your purchase helps make a difference. Proceeds from every book bundle sold are donated to our registered foundation, the Next Step Wealth Giving Fund, which supports Canadian charities dedicated to improving mental health and helping those facing mental health challenges. You'll find a link in the video description that will take you directly to where you can order your books and arrange shipping. Now, bonus, if you're in the Edmonton or Shore Park, Alberta area, you can choose the local pickup option at checkout and save on shipping costs. Thanks for subscribing. See you in the next video. Let's take the next step.